Okay, here's the notes. Make sure you are copying these down. We're starting a new unit, a new lesson here, totally something different. Maybe you've seen this before, but I'll review it anyways. Okay, so this is for chapter 9.1. Remember, you can always look at your book and look at chapter 9.1. But before we start on what's chapter 9.1, I got to talk about the math. There's some math here that we have to make sure that we know. And the two things they're going to discuss, or you're going to be kind of toggling back and forth, is between a square, and here I'm not talking about the shape, by the way, between a square and a square root. So you notice they both have this word square. Now when we talk about this word square, again, not the shape, we're talking about like squared, like they say square or squared, where it's like some number to the power of 2. That's the squared or the squared. It's square, but some people say squared like this, squared. Okay, so this is the symbol. This is the way you'll see it. Sometimes you'll see parentheses, sometimes you won't. You'll just see a number with a little, this is an exponent, right? With the power. And the square root over here is this symbol like this, right? When you square root something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and forth and I'm gonna explain what this means. Now, why do they call it square? Well, because it actually does have to do something with a square. Let's say if you say 3 squared. Now, I hope that we know that this means you take this and you multiply to itself, right? This is the exponent, so that would be 3 times 3. 2 times. Whatever this number is, you multiply it to itself. There's 2 of them, so 3 times 3. Okay, well, we know the answer is 9. Okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean, and what does it have to do with the square? Well, because it does have to do with the square. If I get a perfect square, right, all the sides are congruent, all the sides are the same. What you're saying here, 3 squared, is, what you're saying here is that I'm looking at a square, right? This is a square. And one side is 3, and the other side is 3. And how do you get the 9? Well, if this has like 3 rows, and this has 3 columns, and you know, maybe this is a bathroom, maybe this is a kitchen, maybe this is a window, how many of these square feet are there? Right, this is a perfect square. 1 foot by 1 foot. But this was 3 feet. This is 3 feet, 3 miles. So everybody see it's going to be 9, right? 3 times 3 is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, that's why it's 3 squared means 9. Because if I have a square that measures 3 by 3, I mean, honestly, it's 3 all the way around, but I'm just multiplying length times width, right? To get area. To get an area of a square, you just multiply the length times the width, but we know that the length times the width is the same number. So that's why they say we just got to know the number once. 3 times 3, the length and the width are the same because it's a square. That's why it's a perfect square. So the numbers are the same. Now, how does it work this way? What is a square root? Well, it's the same idea. This square root is saying, well, what if I start with what if you measure something and you notice that it has an area of 9, right? Just like we did here. Right? We know that there's 9 squares in here in total. So then we're asking, what's the square root of 9? What is that asking when you say what's the square root of 9? Well, it's asking if this area is all 9, if there's 9 squares exactly in here in this square, right? Because the shape is a square. That's why it's called square or square root. Then it's asking, okay, well now if I know the area, how much is each side? How much is each side of this perfect square? Well, see, that's why the answer is going to be what? 3. Right? For the same reason over here. 3 times 3 is 9. So a square root is kind of already giving you the answer and asking you what is the sides of the square. Okay, well that's why the answer is 9. Right? But we don't get the answer right away. We understand that 9 is what? 3 times 3. We know that 9 is 3 times 3. And under a square root, that's why you're looking for the same number twice. That is exactly why you're looking for the same number twice. Okay? Right? Same thing over here with 36. Right? What is, I'm sorry. Another example. Real quick. 6 squared. What does that mean? Oh, I have a square that measures 6 and 6. The question is what's the area in there? Oh, well, 6 squared means 6 times 6. Oh, I know the answer is 36. Yeah, because it does have to do with a square. Remember, these can't be different numbers. It has to be the same number. Well, that's why you're multiplying the same number twice to itself. Now, over here, if I ask you what is the square root of 36, now there's a couple of ways to get 36, right? Right? No, well, before I go there, yeah, you understand that there's a square, that's the square root part, and the root, right, because it's called a square root, this root means like how much is this? How much is the sides? How much of these that have to be? That's this word root, square root. So what would be the root? If the area is 36, what is the square root? Which means how much is the length of these? Okay, so it has to be, right? You know, it has to be the same number. It can't be two different numbers. Okay, so I know the answer is 6. I know the square root of 36 has to be 6. But don't do this. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. The square root of 36 has to be, well, square root of a 6 times a 6, right? You're looking for the same number twice. Remember this. This is why you're looking for the same number twice, because it has to be the same on the length and it has to be the same on the width. What if somebody for 36 tells me, oh, mister, isn't 36 9 times 4? Well, it is. 36 is 9 times 4. But why are you looking for two different numbers? Remember, we want to have the same two numbers. The same two numbers. Okay. So we know how to square. All right. Now, what if you have to do like a tough number, like 18 squared? 18 squared. Well, we can use our calculators, right? Okay, so know how to use a calculator. If not, hopefully you have your phone or something that has a calculator. All right, now you can sit here and do 18 times 18 because I know that's what 18. I know that that's what 18 squared means. Or some calculators have this key here. I'm sure all of them have them. If it's a scientific calculator, see, here's your squared key. So you can simply put what? 18, and then hit that squared. And when I punch it, you see how the little 2 comes up there, the power, the exponent, and then you just hit the equal sign, right? Enter. We get the same answer. You know that 18 squared means 18 times 18. Oops, sorry. 18 times 18. You do this on the calculator. You get, what was it? 324. Well, I'm sure you know that. the problem is this one, the square root. Now what if I ask you for the square root of 324? Well, again, you also have a square root key on your calculator, right? You also have a square root key on your calculator. But some people don't know how to use it, or actually the problem is some calculators work different. Now, I just zoomed out. I gotta zoom back in. Some of them actually have it as a button and you'll see it on the button, but some of them have it up here. See, like in this little yellow thing like this. And then actually this one's different, but this one's the regular square root one. This one here, see? But it's in yellow. Now some of you, if anything that's in yellow, you gotta hit that yellow, or some of you have the blue button, you hit that blue button first, and then you hit this key. The key where it's right above. And see, when I do that, then it's asking me, okay, put the, what was it, 324, the square root of 324 equals. And it does give me 18. But some of you, your calculator works different, and you actually put the 324 first. Some of you that actually have the, I mean, you just gotta know how to use your calculator. Some of you put, it depends on your calculator. Some of you put the 324 first and then hit the square root button, and you'll actually have like a button. So you gotta know how to use that square root button. Okay, let me finish this. The important part of that, I hope you knew most of that. The important part of the new stuff that a lot of students don't know is how to do this. Actually, let me do that in the next video. Okay.